Welcome to our webinar today. I will give some quick introductions. In our webinar today, we will have Mr. Raghu, our service manager, doing the bulk of the presentation. He is joined by Patrick, our principal consultant, and myself, Marc, who is going to be your host for today. We will be recording this session. We will share the presentation and the recording in follow-up to this webinar. We always take questions during the session, but we will respond to them during a Q&A section only towards the end. To ask a question, please use the question panel that you should see on your screen. Kindly also respond to any of the quick polls that we will ask during the webinar. There will be 3 of those, the results of which will be shared with you in real time during the webinar. And at the end of the session, there will be a brief exit survey, which we would like to ask you to complete as well. As some of you are joining us in the webinar for the first time, please allow me a minute for a general introduction of TecSurge. You may have seen and read our vision statement and how we work. I'd like to quote our President and CEO in a summary statement. TecSurge is passionate about making the use of complex engineering software easy. We always aspire to make you experience our passion and dedication when you interact with us. Next, I'd like to give you a quick overview of TecSurge before we jump into the subject of plant migration. At TecSurge, we recognize that our clients operate complex and varied businesses. Therefore, we are structured to cover 3 business lines: TecSurge On Demand, Academy, and Service. On Demand and Academy are newly launched offerings from TecSurge. TecSurge On Demand provides comprehensive user support and application administration as managed services for engineering software. You can focus on your business and rely on us to keep the lights on. TecSurge Academy provides specialized learning and knowledge transfer for engineering applications. You can boost your knowledge via our learning management system anytime you choose. TecSurge Service consists of defined scope professional services for engineering software. Here, our legacy continues the tradition of delivering quality professional services that may have been previously known to you undersea experts. We strive to expand your capability with TecSurge Service. In this webinar, of course, we focus on the example of PDMS to S3D plant migration. We chose to focus on one example in order to reduce the complexity during this webinar. However, I should point out that we support any combination of plant design systems. At this point, I'd like to introduce you to Patrick, our principal consultant, to tell you more. Patrick?
Thanks, Marc. At this point, I'd like to give you an overview of what we will present today. I'm going to explain the business drivers and options for plant model migration, and then hand over to Raghu to describe our approach and deliverables. After this, I'll describe some case studies and how you can get started before Marc closes the session and we take some time to respond to any questions that you've raised during the webinar. At TecSurge, we've engaged with many clients who have a need to migrate plant models from one plant design system to another. In each case, the specifics of the requirement vary to some degree, but can generally be traced to one of 3 main scenarios. Firstly, many clients receive model data from third parties, whether they be contractors, joint venture partners, suppliers, or even from previous stages of a project such as basic engineering, but have a need to use a different system for ongoing design work. A second common scenario is where the project contract stipulates handover in a specific format, but for various reasons the project execution is performed using an alternative system instead. The third typical scenario is where an owner or an EPC adopts a particular product as a standard toolset and has a legacy of existing plant model data created with another. In each case, the requirement is to migrate the existing plant model from a source system to a target. However, the different business drivers can have a notable impact upon the time, cost and fidelity targets for the migration project. When first confronted with the complexity, risk and cost of migrating an existing plant model, Most customers look for alternatives to migration. One option is to do nothing and continue to operate both source and target platforms concurrently and handle the interfaces manually. Another option is to use one of several referencing technologies to integrate the models visually without migrating the actual content. TecSurge's plant model migration service allows you to obtain the full benefits of an intelligent plant model migration while avoiding the complexities, risks and uncertainties associated with the technical detail. Our approach ensures you obtain the full benefits of migration, such as full intelligent integration of the source model, ensuring you're able to make changes, extract deliverables and aggregate quantities in one place. It also ensures your design team is applying a standard set of rules, catalogs and specifications, improving consistency and leading to a higher quality result. TecSurge applies your own project modeling procedures and standards during the migration, ensuring that the migrated model complies with your own and your client's expectations and reduces risks associated with contractual penalties. Migrating the plant model is a one-off activity, after which the legacy environment can be retired. This allows your business to reduce costs for infrastructure, administration, licenses, user support and training, and concentrate your efforts on a single platform, maximizing your return on investment. Because plant model migration is not a fully automated activity, it must be treated like a project in its own right. Like any project, it requires planning, resourcing and budgeting. While timeframes can often be compressed to meet hard targets, we strongly advise customers to allow as much time as possible for the migration project execution in order to keep costs down, especially when the plant model migration must be completed in order to meet external targets, for example, the start of detailed engineering, a project handover, or a plant shutdown or turnaround. We recommend you get in touch with us early so that we can provide you with realistic time and cost estimates for your specific circumstances. The other advice we share with our customers is that it's usually a false economy to defer the migration activity until the end of a major detailed design project. Often, at this point, personnel familiar with the project itself may have been redeployed and are no longer able to share key information about the way the software has been applied. In addition, any opportunity to reduce time and costs of migration by starting earlier will be lost.
Thank you, Patrick. I will now hand back to Patrick to tell us more about the migration options. Patrick?
Thanks again, Marc. I'd now like to give an overview of how plant model migration is performed and discuss some advantages and disadvantages of the main options for delivering a migration project. While today's webinar is focused on migration from PDMS to Smart 3D, there are four main areas of activity which must be addressed for any plant model migration project. Firstly, it's essential that the specifications and catalogs between the source and target systems are completely aligned, and that a stable mapping between the systems has been established. This aspect is a critical success factor for migration, as any dimensional or specification differences between the systems can cause incorrect reproduction of the physical plant model in the target system. Once the specification and catalogue data has been aligned and mapped, the work of migrating the plant model itself can be performed using a combination of manual and automated work depending on the specific approach selected. Given the manual work inevitably involved in the model migration step, thorough checking of the migration must also be performed, ensuring that no human or mapping errors have arisen, causing mismatches between the source and target data. Finally, once the model migration is completed and checked for accuracy, the migration or recreation of deliverables such as drawings, reports and isometrics in the target system can begin, along with any associated checking required. TecSurge has years of experience in performing plant migrations across all four of these areas of activity and develop procedures and technology to optimize efficiency and maintain quality. Our expertise extends to the most popular plant design solutions such as PDS, PDMS and Smart 3D, but also allows us to adapt and support other systems such as CADWorx, PlantSpace, OpenPlant, AutoPLANT and others. We've leveraged this experience and expertise to build our own plant model migration automation technology, which we apply to optimize our execution in all four areas of plant model migration. Our technology uses a system-neutral intermediate format into which PDS or PDMS source data can be imported and combines this with advanced use of Smart 3D application programming interfaces to generate the output model. Our automation also covers key aspects of the checking process and helps to automate the migration of deliverables such as orthographic drawings. There are three main options available for plant model migration. The first, manual remodeling in-house, is to use your own technical staff to perform all the work manually. The next option also involves in-house technical staff, but equips them with migration tools provided by the application vendors or third parties, typically aiming to automate some aspects of the model migration work. The third option is to subcontract the migration project work to an external service provider such as TecSurge. I'm now going to touch on advantages and disadvantages of each of these three approaches. The first approach seems the simplest on the surface and involves using your own in-house resources to manually recreate the plant model and deliverables in the target system. Apart from its apparent simplicity, this approach has an advantage in knowing that the result will be a native deliverable in the target system, and that you may be able to leverage existing modelling and deliverable production skills from your organisation. Of course, nothing is as simple as it may first appear, and the time and effort involved in migrating specs and catalogues, checking and deliverable production cannot be ignored. In addition, there are some hidden costs, such as the fact that your resources will be fully utilised on unproductive non-design activities. The work requires large numbers of personnel who need to be with both the source and the target applications. A significant amount of manual checking and corrections are needed to deliver a quality result. Licenses and infrastructure for both the source and target systems will be needed for the duration of the project. And finally, resource constraints will limit your ability to overlap the work with other more productive project activities. In summary, manual remodeling is a very labour-intensive activity, and due to the human element, requires a high degree of checking to maintain quality. This next approach is similar to the first, but incorporates the use of application vendor or third-party software tools to automate some aspects of the migration. Typically, these tools aim to automate some of the plant model migration activity, but often don't help with others, such as specs and catalogues, checking, or deliverable production. Some other significant disadvantages of this approach include the fact that the tools themselves are often technically complex to configure and apply, meaning that it may take a lot of time to master their use. Underestimating or underinvesting in this effort can cause a lot of wasted time and effort when the tools fail to perform as expected. Sometimes, the resulting model data produced by automated tools is not identical to data produced by a person, leading to risks that the recipient of the model is unable to use it in the intended manner, or even rejects the handover completely. Usually, these tools lack the flexibility to apply customer-specific modelling procedures or standards, leading to some manual rework of the automated results. Many of the tools on the market require perfect or nearly perfect source data and may fail with specific combinations of input data requiring manual checking and correction in order to maintain consistency. In some cases, the automated results from poor quality input generate a spaghetti model, and it takes more time to correct than it would have to manually model in the first place. Specifications, catalogues, symbols, and drawings of deliverables are usually not covered by these automated migration tools. And finally, typically, migration tools are not included in the basic application license, so you must pay for both the application software itself and the additional cost of the migration tools, increasing your license costs overall. In summary, while automation tools may seem like a good option, applying them effectively requires a great deal of niche experience, expertise, and upfront investment, and there's no guarantee that they will perform well in your specific conditions. Worse, if this is for a one-off migration project, your chances of benefiting from this investment in the future are very limited. TecSurge's approach to plant model migration is to package the entire delivery as an easy-to-understand solution. We will agree with you upfront about the time, cost, and fidelity of the migration project. You won't need to set aside large teams of personnel, instead providing only key contacts for coordination and clarification of technical queries. TecSurge can provide you with advice about migration options and solutions and manages your project professionally, meaning you're always kept in the loop and there are no surprises during execution. Because we specialize in plant model migration, we can afford to invest in the most efficient and effective processes and technologies and have the experience to know when to apply them to meet your challenges. We develop our own tools automating all aspects of the migration and constantly assess other solutions on the market to ensure we are up to date with the latest technology. Through performing migration projects over time, we're able to benchmark and optimize our own performance, allowing us to provide you with a packaged service offering with the highest degree of confidence. In summary, we make it easy for you by giving you a fixed price, a committed delivery time frame, and the high quality results you know you can expect from us. So to summarize the plant model migration options, I can say that plant model migration is a much more demanding and technically challenging subject than it appears to an inexperienced outsider. TecSurge has the experience, expertise and efficiency to deliver the results you need while reducing your risks with a fixed time and budget.
Thanks, Marc and Patrick. In summary, the TecSurge approach is more transparent and delivers high quality. Over the next 8 slides and 15 minutes, we will cover a few points. First, we will understand the PDMS and S3D modeling philosophy. This information will help us to align the plant model migration possibilities and approach. Next, we will cover the topics of extracting the PDMS data via our program. TecSurge developed the capability to write to S3D from a variety of sources, and here we will use the example of PDMS. The automated portion of the plant data migration depends upon a series of mapping for all disciplines which control the selection of target elements in S3D. Based on a mapping and a specific project need, our automation will always be enhanced. Then we will migrate the model into S3D with the follow-up manual tidy. Our proprietary automated technology produces reliable and predictable results through automated verification and quality control. Finally, we will cover the drawing generation, drawing touch-up if any, and handover of deliverable. Let's move on to look at this approach in detail, starting on major tasks. Now we look into the reference data. PDMS piping specification and catalog are converted by automated methods to produce identical S3D bulk flow sheets. All generic and common reference data is converted from PDMS to S3D via our automated procedure. We use automated testing procedure for verification that all the piping specification component can be placed within SP3. Further, we cover custom symbol development as per project requirement. For example, piping specialty and instrument symbol creation, piping hangers and support assembly development. And obviously, we will also cover structural section and fireproofing catalog creation from PDMS. Similarly, electrical and instrument cable tray specification and catalog will be migrated from PDMS to S3D bulk flow sheet. In piping migration, our automation process works as follows. First, it requires 100% identical piping specification. Then piping is migrated in a similar fashion to how it would be done by a designer. Piping insulation and the line list attributes are also carried along the migration. Piping supports are placed at exact location. Please note that piping supports are migrated as logical or physical supports as per project need. A review and editing is required to ensure the migrated piping model is identical with the PDMS. Of course, the images are shown in this slide demonstrate that symbols will look different between the source and target system due to possible difference in 3D symbol. Therefore, a manual tidy up will be done after migration. For example, in this case, the valve actuator handle orientation need to be corrected. The option codes need to be checked. For pipe supports, the structural relationship need to be assigned. I would like to highlight that we have our quality toolkit which runs in a S3D environment. This toolkit directs the designer to area where verification of the model is required. It pinpoints the inconsistency locations. This helpful feature will speed up the tidy up process and model quality check. By using TecSurge automation, we achieve that all the equipment modeled in PDMS will be migrated to S3D as intelligent equipment. For a user, this means that inherent ability to edit each shapes in equipment. Likewise, nozzles are migrated as intelligent in S3D along with equivalent attributes. Of course, the aspect of equipment and shape will be maintained between both systems. The benefit of the TecSurge approach are also that structural linear and curved members are migrated using an automated routine. Therefore, frame connection will also be migrated as per the PDMS joint definition. All the panels in PDMS will be migrated as a slab object in S3D. As before, the structural elements quality will be ensured by our quality toolkit. As part of structural migration, we will also migrate handrails, stairs and ladder. In PDMS, if an ASL module is used, then we will migrate it to the equivalent S3D object. Alternatively, the object will be migrated according to the mapped elements. For example, if in PDMS the handrails are modeled by using equipment primitives, then it will be migrated to the equivalent equipment shapes in S3D. Electrical and instrumentation cable tray are also migrated by using our automated routine process. All the branch connections are done by using the auto connect option in S3D environment. As before, the cable tray quality will be ensured by our quality toolkit. All the migrated objects are placed or moved to proper system hierarchy based on the S3D modeling philosophy. PDMS UDA attributes and values are transferred to the equivalent attributes in S3D. The S3D naming rule will be assigned as per each object in S3D environment based on project standard. All the to-do list entries will be cleared in S3D. That's the power of the TecSurge approach. The TecSurge automation also covers the drawing task, of course. For example, after a successful migration and tidy up of pipelines, all the isometric drawings will be extracted from S3D. As a part of our quality control, we will make sure that same content from the source drawing will be present in the extracted isometric. If the project requires, then we will also maintain the same isometric sheet split point. As part of our deliverable, the isometric drawings is updated with the title block, line list and the revision information. Similarly, for orthographic drawing, all the needed view styles for general arrangement, plot plan and the layer drawing will be set up in S3D based on project 2D regulation. Drawing volume will be created in S3D by using our automated routine. Finally, the drawing sheets are created at the proper drawing hierarchy based on the source PDMS drawing sheet information. As an option, we can always embed a source isometric and orthographic drawing in S3D too. A few words on the extraction of intelligent drawing. We want to make sure that you understand that for extracted drawing in S3D, the content will be identical, but the actual drawing representation between the two systems may vary. For example, the bill of material on isometric drawing between PDMS and S3D will be same, but line style and annotation may vary in representation in drawing. We will ensure the quality targets are met by using several techniques throughout the migration. Our proprietary quality toolkit will run inside the S3D to make sure models are migrated as per source data. As I mentioned earlier, we will also provide all provisions that are necessary for the designer to navigate and fix any model inconsistency that our quality assurance identifies. In addition to the automated quality checking described, a number of secondary comparison and verifications are performed in order to manage the quality of the migration, including comparison of pipeline pipe runs properties, comparison of equipment and nozzle locations and property between PDMS and S3D, comparison of structural member locations like a start and end coordinate, comparison of electrical and instrument raceway routes and fitting, and finally confirmation that all the objects are placed in the correct system hierarchy. In addition, a variety of visual checks are conducted internally at regular scheduled interval. So what do you get back from the TecSurge approach? Let's talk about our handover procedure. TecSurge delivery includes the full model backup with all the required bulk load sheets and the symbols. Our delivery includes a quality report covering pipelines with the BOM information, equipment and nozzle location and properties, structural member properties and coordinate, to-do list report, and finally database consistency report. We will also support you to upload the migrated model into the client S3D production environment via MDR. In order to support our customer review and to show the migration progress, we will also always deliver the interim backups and review models at agreed milestones. Finally, a full report of issues addressed during the migration and the project progress report will be included in our final delivery. Now I hand over to Marc for our final quick poll.
Thank you, Raghu.
Thanks again, Marc and Raghu. I'm now going to give you a look at case studies to illustrate some important points about our plant model migration service and then explain how you can get started before Marc closes the session and we can take some time to respond to your questions. Our first case study involves a plant model migration to SmartPlant 3D 2011 Release 1 on an Oracle database and illustrates the scale of projects that TecSurge is equipped to deliver. In particular, we're proud of having delivered against an extremely aggressive project schedule of just 3.5 months. Apart from the tight schedule, a key technical feature of this project was the migration of as-built drawings into the SmartPlant 3D database. Our automation allowed us to deliver both the original CAD drawings extracted from the source system as well as intelligent deliverables generated from SmartPlant 3D. This approach allowed the ultimate recipient of the model to update and generate deliverables for new projects as well as retain as-built records from the historical plant in one place. As with most professional services work, we believe the true measure of success is follow-up work from the client. And in this case, we've had repeated requests for services and quotes from this satisfied customer. Case study. The project had executed detailed design partly in SmartPlant 3D and partly in PDMS. Our project scope was to migrate the PDMS portion of the plant model to SmartPlant 3D. Based on previous poor experience using the vendor tools, the client elected to assess TecSurge's approach with an on-site proof of concept involving a very limited scope, represented by the numbers in the pilot column on the slide. For this scenario, the specs and catalogs for SmartPlant 3D were already available, shortening the execution timeframe considerably and requiring only the mapping between the source and target systems to be established. TecSurge was able to migrate the model listed in a 5-day on-site pilot, demonstrating our capability and proving our approach to the client's engineering team. Two specific details of this project scope stand out. Firstly, the project requires fully intelligent SmartPlant 3D arrangement drawings, mimicking the source PDMS deliverables as closely as possible. including all manually added annotations, notes and symbols. Secondly is the intelligent migration of logical pipe supports in the PDMS source model to physical supports and assemblies in SmartPlant 3D. For the full project, time is not a major constraint, so TecSurge has optimized the delivery schedule to minimize overall cost. Based on the successful pilot, we've been asked to bid on the full-scale plant model migration. As you've heard today from Raghu, plant model migration is a complex technical subject. TecSurge has excellent recent experience with migrations from PDS and PDMS to Smart 3D and have the expertise and scale to address your needs. We continue to improve our processes and automation to drive our service efficiency, and our team has great experience with a range of other plant design solutions. No matter whether you're using CADWorx, AutoPLANT, Plant3D, PlantSpace, OpenPlant or any other 3D plant design system, contact us to find out how we can help you with your migration challenges. At TecSurge, we pride ourselves on applying creative problems, often resulting in time saving and quality improvements that we pass on to you through our professional services. Our exclusive focus on professional services for engineering applications means that we have the manpower and expertise necessary to deliver. Because we come from the same industry background as you do, you'll find that we understand your requirements and can explain your options with precision. Our vendor neutrality means that you can rely on us to provide independent advice that's always in your best interest. Of course, we manage our projects in the way that you would expect, employing professional project managers to ensure there are no surprises and that you're kept fully informed of progress or outstanding issues requiring your attention. Finally, today, I'd like to give you a quick explanation of how you can get started with TecSurge's plant model migration service. Firstly, in order to estimate and scope a plant model migration project, we begin by asking clients to complete a questionnaire. The questions allow us to establish important facts regarding the scope and scale of the migration effort. Based on these facts and further discussions about specific project circumstances, we order of magnitude estimate for time and cost. Once this initial budgetary estimation phase is completed, we approach the next step by asking our client to provide us with a full copy of the source model and any elements such as catalogs, standards, symbols, specifications, modeling procedures and so forth of the target system that must be utilized. This information allows us to develop a more detailed and accurate quotation for the model migration. In most circumstances, TecSurge can deliver a fixed price quotation for the plant model migration, providing you with the outcome you require and containing your risks associated with time and cost.
Thank you, Raghu and Patrick. And thank you to our audience for your time today. We are looking forward to making your experience with TecSurge PDMS to S3D plant migration an easy one, or indeed any other combination of plant design systems. Do get your handout on plant model migration if you haven't done so earlier. Please complete the exit survey and give us your feedback. For any immediate business requirements, kindly reach out to our global sales manager at the email address on your screen. We do have a corporate page on LinkedIn as well as a networking group called TecSurge Community, which we heartily invite you to join us. Contact us also anytime via TecSurge.com. We will reply to you within a day. And finally, of course, look out for the follow-up email, including the recording of this webinar. This now concludes our webinar. Have a great day, afternoon or evening ahead. Thank you again and goodbye.